Mm-hmm. 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 Surprise,
Let's
NIO
go.
traders. How are we doing, guys? God
I'll
bless
wake up.
each and every single one of you guys. Today, we have the pleasure of covering stock ticker NIO, baby, and what you're doing on the macro chart, as well as how the micro chart is going to affect our open on Monday. So I want to make sure we talk about the overall momentum in the stock market because it's relatively positive. And I want to give a quick shout out to all y'all who have been demolishing the like button. Last 7 videos, 100 plus likes. So make sure to, you already know what to do, right? Smash the like button, subscribe if you find this valuable. And let's jump straight into the micro chart, guys. The 1 hour chart is doing some fascinating things. As you can see, you actually tapped $7. Guys, you tapped $7 on Friday, peeked your head into the bull zone on the 1 hour chart, and then now you flagged out for the remainder of that day. Now, what I'm expecting here is if you do not break out, and that'll be another conversation in just a second. But if you do not break out, right, the bearish case scenario is you have a head and shoulders on the RSI here, and you just lost the support of the 1 hour time frame. Now, you do it all the time on the 1 hour. It's not as important as per se, let's say the daily, right? But the 1 hour time frame, what that does show you is that could mean a breakdown of this local small time formation, right? Because if we broke out of it, guys, you're talking about a price target of potentially 750, and that would help you fill this gap currently sitting at 711, which we are targeting on the stock as you continue our thesis of making this U-shaped accumulation structure, in which I believe personally, not financial advice, that you're going to tap 771 and you're going to make one of the most important decisions on the stock's history. But as we watch here on the local time frame, right, let's say we don't break out and achieve that price target, there's a strong possibility that you see a breakdown here on the short-term time frame. And I want to emphasize that for all y'all who lose their mind over short-term capitulation, right? Oftentimes you see market makers try to shake people out of the stock, especially when you are up substantially. If this does break, right, there's a strong chance that you come back to fill this gap in the 1 hour, currently sitting at 646, and then or come down to this trend line, this new established trend from the breakout here that you have tapped once in March, tapped twice on the 27th, and then you would come back and make a higher low again, sitting right around the mid to low $6 range. Now, the worst case scenario, right, is let's say we break down from this new valid trend line in which you're making higher highs, higher lows. Well, if you broke down from this, which I don't anticipate to happen, just want to say that, then it is possible, right, you come back down to retest your breakout, which is one of the most bullish things you can do, guys. So regardless of the situation, I'm bullish. But I do want to point out the worst case scenario for all y'all who are worried, right? So if you break this, a retest of either this resistance trend or this horizontal resistance, now flipping as support, right? That's going to be the biggest key test if this momentum and this run will be sustained, right? So fascinating stuff in the 1 hour. Now let's get to the daily time frame. Hold on, that's the monthly. I wanted to cover on the daily time frame for the NIO stock run. Is you've done significant things, right? This was a channel that was 7 months long. You broke out of it, right? Retest, and then you break. And I do anticipate this to come up to 771 eventually, right? You just tapped your head on $7 on Friday. The momentum is still in the bull's favor. But I wanted to shout this out, right? Because this was the same exact formation, even though you just broke that resistance trend. This is the same exact formation that we made back here. So I want to give you guys some precaution, right? This was a touch of bearish divergence, bearish divergence, bearish divergence, and then you kind of just capitulated, right? What I'm watching here on the stock is, regardless of where you go, because I think you're still going to go up pretty substantially, watch for bearish div touches, right? Because the way to spot this is, this was your top on the RSI. You've now made a higher high while making a lower high on the RSI. Typically, that's not a good sign, right? It's a sign that the rally is a little overcooked. You need to kind of spell back out and find higher lows. So that's why I'm almost supportive of a pullback here, unless you were to just shoot to the moon, right? Very possible. And I'm sure everyone here would be happy. But I just want to call that out before we get into further talk. As you guys know, I am one of the most bullish guys out there. I am a big freaking bull on this stock. But you want to see these touches of bearish divergence be smashed, right? You don't want to see them trickle on for an attempt, especially, right? Especially going into a macro break that has the magnitude that this stock does, right? In case you guys are unaware, I'll catch you guys up, right? This is our macro break that we're talking about. Shoulder, head, right shoulder, and you're playing it out 2AT traders. And so this is where it gets a little exciting for a lot of the long term holders, is you may see this thing go crazy. And I want to emphasize this, right? On the monthly time frame, we're going to take a look at this stock. Because on the monthly time frame, guys, not only do we have the profit target from the inverted head and shoulders of somewhere between $18 and $20, right? That is insanely bullish. To give you a perspective check on just how great that is from this current price action, that's 140 to 174 to 200%, right? That's no small move. That's nothing to scoff at. But I want to give you guys a little update on the monthly RSI band, because we had talked about this a long time ago, saying how bullish it was that you were above the monthly RSI and how few times in history that you've done that, right? And then we talked about, and I was nervous. I was genuinely nervous that you would lose the monthly RSI, just like you did here, just like you did here, and just like you did back here. Because once you lost the monthly RSI, the run was pretty much done, right? But ladies and gentlemen, do I have something exciting to tell you today? Because we covered a while ago the fact that you were retesting the monthly RSI band after breaking out of it. This marked your bottom. It really did, right? You see the bullish continuation that happened from the crossing of that band. You then retested it fully, and now you've expanded above the 50 line. Now, traders, if you've been watching this channel long enough, you know I describe the 50 line as that checkered decision point, right? In a lot of stocks, momentum. The left lane being the highway, right? You're on the fast lane, you're going quick, volatility and volume is pouring into the stock. Right lane, you're moving slower, it's choppy, right? How many different times can you ask yourself and look at this chart and see when you've been above the 50 on the monthly time frame? Well, traders, it's about 1-2 times that you've crossed above the 50. This is now your third time in doing so. It is so exciting for the long-term momentum of the stock. As you could see, the first time you did this, right? That was right here before you cleared your previous head and shoulders. Look at that neckline, right? Multiple wicks above it, and then you finally clear it when you get back above the 50. And once that happened, right, you saw a 93% monthly candle, a 54% monthly candle, a 59% monthly candle, all back to back. And when you look at where you currently are, right, inverted head and shoulders on the monthly time frame as well, you cross the monthly RSI band, took a little peeky weeky outside of the 50, and then you've now retested it and sprung off of it, with volume being the most important measure here. And we're going to get into that in just 1 second, right? But look at the structure. And that's why I say when the best is yet to come, guys, I truthfully say that. I truthfully believe that. Because if you get back into this territory on the monthly, guys, I don't see any reason why it shouldn't look like this. Or at least, right, up to $20. That is my conviction on this stock. And it is aided by not just Robinhood, right? Robinhood, you look at the buy and hold and sell index. This is their own analyst ratings, saying that 62% are recommending to buy, 34% are recommending to hold, and only 3.4% are saying to sell. Now, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but that is bullish, guys. You look at the short interest climbing up just a tad bit now that you've been a little bit more overbought than previously. But it's a beautiful story, guys. And I think the NIO family or the NIO investors should take pride in what you hold, how good it looks, right? And I could not be more grateful to be here for you guys. On the monthly time frame, though, and this is where I'm talking about volume, I said the same thing on AMC, and we're saying the same thing on NIO. The volume will tell the story, and the story is bullish, right? Look at the volume of March, just smashing the last 1, 2, 3, 4 months of price action in one single month, guys. That is what you call a rebound. As you saw, 1, 2, 3, 4 taps along this trend line that led to your bottom and now is leading to your higher low, in my opinion, right? So what you need to see if you're going to break this 771 trend line, guys, we are going to be watching so closely the volume trend on this stock, because as you see last time, look at the way, I'm sure if you held back here, right, 2019 during March, you probably thought that was insane volume, almost $1 billion in volume. And that was all eclipsed here in 2021 during this rally up, right, of the right shoulder. I bet people thought that this left shoulder volume was crazy. And then you got the right shoulder, right? That's the most volume that you've ever seen since all the way back here, right? And so to put it into perspective, you need these kind of candles on the volume, right? 4 billion, 5 billion to break the very stubborn 771 trend line and get you back into your bull zone, guys. This is what we're talking about, and this is what we're watching for. But the one thing that looks beautiful is the sellers are exhausted. Look at this 1, 2, 3, 4 months of exhausting selling pressure. 1, 2, 3, 4 months of exhausted selling pressure. The stock is set up so beautifully. And so that's what we're excited to cover, right? I'm jacked. I'm excited. Let's look at the Bollinger Bands really quick, and then we'll do a couple more things of due diligence. But in the monthly time frame, you can see here, you were really squeezed on the monthly Bollinger Bands. You've done a really nice job of regaining the mid-band here. And now also you are expanding the monthly Bollinger Bands for the first time, right? Really, for the first time since back here. And the top band was still coming down. So this is truthfully your first monthly Bollinger Band expansion of the top band since back here. That's exciting stuff. And to me, it's spelling breakout. On the weekly chart, you could see just how much more tight you were on the monthly or on the weekly Bollinger Band. Delete some of this stuff. And you can see you're currently outside of the weekly Bollinger Band. So even if traders, even if you come for a retest here, I do believe with the expansion of the bands and the upper band going up, that's the most important part here on this analysis, right? As you can see, when the band is going down, it's resistance. When the band is going up, it's support. You had a little bit of support here, but you lost it, right? The band is going up. So even if you find a spell back here, there's a high opportunity that with this band going up, you're going to meet it with technically confluent, right? Technically confluent supports of a retest of this previous resistance, now support. That is bullish, guys. So regardless of what happens within this right shoulder, I think it's highly likely that you test 771, and that will be the largest test in the entire stock's history. So I want to emphasize this. Please do your own due diligence. Please do your own research. I'm not a financial advisor, but I love each and every single one of you guys. So until next time, guys, God bless each and every single one of your families. Make sure to slap the like button, hit the subscribe button, and remember, guys, the best is yet to come. I love you all. Peace.